Hi, my name's Ewell, and welcome to my webpage, Conspiracy to Cover Up the Truth. Basically, the webpage and everything that's on it speaks for itself. It talks about my time working with the Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Circus. Things that have happened to me while I worked with the circus, seeing the elephants being mistreated, being beaten on a daily basis for one thing or another, didn't matter what. You've heard others talk about it, Tom Ryder, James Stetchcom. But James and I were the two original whistleblowers of the Ringling Circus. We're the ones that brought light of this from within the big top. What happened after that is a tragedy. Don't know whatever happened to Mr. Stetchcom, but I hear a little bit about Mr. Ryder. But that's not what happened in this case. In October, just a month after 9/11, in which we all know was a terrible time for the entire country as well as the world. But something happened in my adventures, if you will, of going across the country, financing my own trips, and basically protesting against Ringling Brothers everywhere I went. In October of 2001, I was set up by the owner of the Ringling Brothers Circus and the CEO of Feld Entertainment, Mr. Kenneth Feld himself. He set me up to make sure that the media would never listen to me by making threatening phone calls to the Muslim Student Association at the Colorado University in Boulder, Colorado, crime in which I never did. Surprisingly, that the day that I was arrested was the same day I was going to be going to the Denver Coliseum to protest against them. The Denver Coliseum just happened to be the place that I was hired from quite a few years back in 1998. I joined with the Ringling Brothers Circus 3 months later, turned evidence against him on animal abuse and animal cruelty, and went to the Performing Animal Welfare Society in Galt, California. So for a few years down the road, I've been protesting against the show. But now, here it is 2009, and a lot of things have come to light about this case. For the fact that Feld Entertainment, Mr. Feld himself, is in litigation in court with a lot of different people dealing with the subject of animal abuse. This video, I'm hoping that once it gets out there to you people across the United States and around the globe, will give you a better insight of what really happened behind closed doors when people are not watching. On my webpage, you'll see a trainer telling one of its employees what to do. This person's, I won't say names, but this person's daughter is a trainer as well, and she's equally abusive. But setting a person up for a crime they didn't commit just to silence them, to make sure that the media would never ever listen to them again, that is probably one of the most cruelest things I believe that you could ever do to anybody else, especially using 9/11 as a tool to silence somebody. What better way to label somebody as a domestic terrorist that nobody would ever even think of wanting to listen after to him again? Well, in light of this whole thing, I'm hoping that this video now, when it gets to you folks, will give you an understanding. I was set up for making 2 threatening phone calls, 2 in which was of those calls was harassment and extortion, something that I would never really do, ever. I mean, we live in a chaotic world, and I was always raised to love everybody, regardless of who they were or where they were from. I don't have a hateful bone in my body. Mind you, the Bible teaches us and says that God loves the sinner and hates the sin. I may not like the things that people do, but I don't dislike them because they're a human being and God put them on the earth for a purpose. So what happened at 9/11 was a tragedy. What happened was wrong. However, for one person to set somebody up and make it look like that person hates these people is wrong. I'm asking a lot of you folks out there who are animal rights activists now to finally listen to this message. Give me your feedback on it. Sure, you'll read a lot of pros and cons about me. You'll hear Mr. Feld might say I'm a disgruntled employee, but the facts outweigh him. What I've seen outweighs everything that he says. If I would have been staying with Feld Entertainment, with Ringling Bros Circus, and somebody was videotaping and saying, well, that's you right there. You told me you didn't see anything, and I'm seeing you sit there watching them beat the elements, I would have been held accountable for that. Nobody holds me accountable for things. If I do something wrong, I own up to it. I will not lie. And since I was arrested in October 2001 till this very day and year, why do I still protest my innocence? Why do I keep saying that I'm innocent of these crimes? Common sense tell you that I didn't make them. You'll read in the internet that I was homeless for a while. Yeah, I was. That's the fact. I was homeless because of Kenneth Feld. I was homeless. And staying at a homeless shelter in Boulder, Colorado, thanks to him. And thanks to his cronies. You'll find out also in this videotape that Kenneth Feld, the CEO, hired Claire E. George, who was the person involved with Oliver North in the Iran-Contra scandal. He hired him to hire former CIA ops to do his bidding, which I happen to be one of them. And Peter was one of the others of stealing documents. He is noted for trying to discredit activist groups, activists themselves, which I happen to be one of them. Bottom line is, Mr. Feld needs to be brought forward in a court and be tried under the Patriot Act for the crime he committed against me. That's what this whole issue about animal abuse and animal rights is all about. I've gone into MySpace web pages, groups for animal rights groups, and it seems that some of these groups don't even really have a whole lot of people involved with them anymore because it's considered to be old news. I don't consider it that way. President Bush made a statement. He said that if you're a terrorist, if you're involved with terrorism, you sponsor terrorism of any sort, we will find you. We will prosecute you. Well, this is a message to Mr. Feld, and I hope that you read this, because I am coming after you in a court of law, and I will get you behind bars. I will not give up. I am not a person who gives up that easy. Not even when you make and hire people to set me up. It does not work. Enough with you, Mr. Feld. But back to you folks out there that are watching. Take to heart everything that you read on MySpace page. Take to heart everything that you read or everything that you hear me say in YouTube. And you'll find out that everything that I've stated is absolutely true. Nothing fabricated, because I have an affidavit and a deposition that proves otherwise. Court papers from Boulder, Colorado, timing my employment card from the West staff that I used to work for. All this stuff. If I would have made threatening phone calls in the dining hall at the Cheyenne Arapaho dining hall at Colorado University in Boulder, I would have been fired and arrested on the same day. So this whole thing was pre-orchestrated over time to set me up. One last thing, and this is to everybody who is listening, including Mr. Feld and all of his CIA cronies that he has working for them. We still have inalienable rights. It's freedom of the press and freedom to speak. You cannot silence me. I will not go away quietly. I cannot be bribed, bought, paid off, or otherwise. I don't make deals with terrorists. So keep that in mind, Mr. Feld. And on another note, you have a great day, everybody. God bless you all. Goodbye.